Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is the Ramsey Show Aftershow. I'm Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach. And if you've got money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me at calendly.com / coach Steve Money. And that link is in the ticker down below and also in the video description. You're watching this on youtube.com / coach Steve Money. And for my other financial content, you can just scroll down just a little bit and you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show. That's this show, and this is number 422 of those, so plenty old ones to watch. If you are not familiar with me and have not seen me before, there's a ton of me giving financial advice. And the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist, that's a stream that I previously did on the weekends, and that's on hiatus temporarily while I'm able to do an after show every single day. So that may come back at any time, and so we'll see. But there's 135 of those. Also, the music playlist has 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, and will eventually be another one as soon as I can sing it better. Or Sid sings it herself. She wrote that one. Market report. Somebody in the Ramsey Show chat complaining about Marshall. What up? Some in the Ramsey Show chat complaining about what about that market crash? I don't see a market crash. Let's look at the S&P, see if there was one recently. I'm not seeing one. I mean, that's not down enough to be a crash. Even that's not down enough to be a crash either. I mean, this is all just normal stuff here. Now, if you want to see a crash, let's go back 5 years. The Pandy crash right there, that was a crash. I mean, maybe right there, but that's not not a steep down, so that doesn't, and it didn't keep going down. It went up after that, and so not really a crash. The last one was the Pandy crash. That was in 2020, so people are just dumb. Exaggerating to make themselves a point. Maybe a crypto bro or something like that. Thinking that you should buy Bitcoin and make his Bitcoin go up rather than put money in the market for retirement, which has been proven over time. This virtual coin stuff has not been proven over time. Except that the crypto bros can get together whenever they want to and decide, okay, we're all going to sell and then we're going to buy. And that does happen. Let me see if I can find one. There was one recently, the Bitcoin. Let's see, within the last month. Nope. 6 months. Where was it? It was in the last year, I know. So, like these, they have, whoops, not that. Like these two, where it went like that and then back up. And then it took longer to get back up the second time. And then you can see then it shot up here recently. Because Donald Trump said something about that he's going to use it, but I think there'll just be more government regulations on it. And why wouldn't the government put out their own virtual coin? I don't understand. But so like I said, I think it was in the past year, so it may have been like right here where you sell it here and that locks in your gains. And then after everybody sells and it goes down to this price, then you can buy it back and you can keep this gain money and then buy the same amount that you had in it before for much cheaper, and you're not buying it at this rate. You're buying it at the lower rate. And so, the whole deal with crypto is it's not based on anything. if you go to the S&P 500 index, or how about let's use the NASDAQ, because I know for sure every single one of these, your tech companies are in there. And that's got these companies and their products and their companies worth. That's part of that basis on that. And so, I mean, the NFTs didn't work out, but the Bitcoin is the same thing. It's only worth what people are gonna buy it for, and it's not based on anything. Like the US dollar is based on the wealth and the good name of the United States of America government. And so Dave likes it to be based on something, and so he says it's not a good investment because it's not based on anything. And he's still correct about that, no matter how much it goes up. Oh, let's see. So up today, yeah, up overall today, because the small cap index, Russell small cap, up, just barely, and just by like a fingernail, barely up is the S&P 500, and that happened at the end of the day. You can see this is the 1 day trading. This is all today. Kind of volatile in there, and then it picked up at the end. I don't know why. Maybe because whoever was reporting today. We'll get into that in just a second. But up more, and this is why you have all the different categories, the small, mid, large cap, and international, so that you're not dependent on the large cap, for example, being up every day. So that's why you don't just do just one. That's why you don't do single stocks, because you want that multi diversification. See what the rest of the planet did. Everything down in Europe, mostly up in Asia. The US dollar up against the euro, up against the Japanese yen, up against the British pound, love, up against the Canadian dollar. And you guessed it, it's a clean sweep for the US dollar, up over all of the other currencies today. Let's see. And the futures, everything down for tomorrow. But we'll see. I think they were up yesterday. Oh, and then it just went up a little bit. Futures were up yesterday, but I think the market opened lower today. Nvidia, let's see. Oh, maybe it's because Nvidia posted their earnings and they did well, maybe. Nope, doesn't look like well. All right, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's see what it says. Nearly doubles revenue on strong AI demand, doubling it. They grow revenue in Q3, so why would it be down then? Revenue hits record highs, results top estimates. And what is the prognosis for the fourth? It's not saying anything about that, so maybe they said it's not going to. Maybe they don't have a good forecast for the fourth quarter. Or again, you never know when people are trying to lock in gains. I mean, you can program your account, your computer there, especially if you're a trader, to, if it gets to a certain point, an amount, or at a certain time, if it gets to a certain point, then you sell. And this is how this happens. And then it goes right back up immediately, like just minutes later. And then, of course, it wiggles and waggles some more. And so, but it's still down after hours. It's down almost a little over 2%. And for the day, it was down 0.76%. So you would think that would all be good news, like I said, unless their prognosis for the fourth quarter is not good for the Nvidia. And Nvidia, of course, would be, I think, in both of your S&P 500. I mean, in your it would be in your large cap fund. Oh, let's see. And tomorrow's that PDD Holdings. That is a China-owned company. But they do have Temu here in the United States and Duolingo as well, and Intuit tomorrow as well. Uh, let's see, Target reported this morning, I think, and they were down. Let's see, I think there's a story. Yeah, sounds the alarm bell on holiday shopping. So they 21% down, 21.41% down is Target today. But Walmart just reported yesterday, and they were way up, and they were way up in global sales as well. And so maybe, guess what? Maybe it's just finally the Richies that was in the Walmart article that more six-figure earners are now shopping at Walmart because it's cheaper than the darn Target or the Whole Foods or something like that. Why would you go and pay more money for the exact same product? I do not know why. So that's the dealio on that. Anything else we got to talk about? Let's see. Oh, the single stocks most followed on Google. Up today, Apple and the Meta. And looks like the Alphabet is the most down today. It's NVIDIA, we talked about that already. Got a couple of news stories. Let me check with the chat. Oh, there's nobody here today. Or at least nobody chatting. Hello to everybody that's not chatting. Thank you for joining me. From Forbes, President-elect Trump promises tax-free Social Security. Is it wise? The short answer is yes, because private spending is better for the economy than government spending. So you don't want the government to have the taxes on Social Security. And of course, why should you have to pay taxes on that? Because you already paid taxes on your income while you were putting into Social Security. So let's see, what was the interesting stuff about this here? Oh, where is it? Well, with an additional $135.5 billion in the pockets of Social Security recipients free from federal income tax, it's safe to assume that some of this money would be spent, which would boost the economy, right? And some of it would be saved, and that's fine. Social Security recipients at the upper end of the economic spectrum are less dependent on Social Security and may be more likely to save it, which is fine as well. They should get it as well. They put into it, they should get it. But most would spend the tax savings on traveling, various purchases to help support their lifestyle, etc. And the multiplier effect is that the economy going up like that is going to cause businesses to expand workforces, and more people will create businesses, that kind of thing. Let's see, it says if the government spends $1, does it boost gross domestic product by more than $1 or less? While there are conflicting views, the prevailing thought is that the government's multiplier effect is less than $1, while $1 spent in the private sector boosts the economy by more than $1, just because it has that, I guess in this case, it would be a trickle up effect instead of trickle down, since it's money going into first the Social Security recipient's hands and then into a merchant's hands. Uncertainty here is how much economic benefit there would be if retirees no longer had to pay a portion of their Social Security to the federal government. However, the supply of these products is adequate, then inflation. Okay, so it's if they buy too much, then there could be inflation because there might be a scarcity of some items. If all of a sudden everybody started buying the same items because of having extra money. Greater demand for workers. More money in the private sector is a good thing for economic prosperity, right? Well, rampant overspending in Washington may make it harder to pass legislation to omit Social Security retirement benefits from federal tax. Yep, I mean, well, what are you doing now about all the rest of the stuff? What did they say it was? $355 billion. You got trillions of dollars in debt. I think like No, it was. I think it's 14 trillion a while back, so it's probably more than that now. But anyway, at least $14 trillion in debt. That's 18 zeros, babe. Okay, and so guess what? Government does not spend money wisely, and I have another example of that. But government does not spend money as wisely, so I would rather, and this of course is not Democrat slash liberal thinking, they want all the money to go to the government and then the government to dole it out to people in the form of benefits and to whatever causes and so forth. But I think the actual American people should have the money, and then they dole it out to the businesses they want to, or the causes they want to support. Let's see, there was something else. Yeah, expanding business. Talked about that already. Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah. So I mean, but whether I'm sure that would have to go through Congress, and so and even though uh, they have all three branches, they have president now, or will in January. They have president and the Senate, and now the House, which probably still isn't done. Let's check that. That probably count still isn't done, but they did get enough. Maybe they just stopped counting once they got to that. But they can't do that because they have to decide all of the Yeah, this has been like this for like 3 days now, where it's 218, and that's what you need for the majority. So they have that, but then there's still some races that still aren't in yet. And let's see, where would they be? In California, there where it leans Republican, as you can see, because it's pink, right near where it says CA. And in Iowa, where it's also leaning Republican. So this could go up, however many seats are involved in those areas. And are there any more? Oh, Alaska has one, I think. I think they have one seat. And Hawaii, of course, always blue. Oh, look, we got a little section of blue. Texas, is Austin down in there? I don't know my geography, so I don't know where that is. That might be the Austin and so forth, where that's where all the comedians and stuff moved from California. Let's see. Oh, so yeah, so that's still not settled. Where did we want to go? That's what we wanted to look at. Speaking of federal spending, this on Fox News via information provided by Senator James Lankford, Republican from Oklahoma. This was some of your tax dollars being spent in 2023. $30,000 to study the secret language of butchers in Paris. $350,000 to develop AI smart toilets. I don't know why you need to get AI involved in that. $660,000 to study the impact that COVID had on Russian women. $750,000 for the New York Metropolitan Opera fire alarm. Hey, I got a great idea. The New York Metropolitan Opera House is a business, and I'm sure they sell tickets for their events there. So you know what you could do? You could have the business pay for their own freaking fire alarm. That would be my idea. $400,000 study on how to talk to ignorant people about climate change. I don't know if Mr. Langford here, Senator Langford here, change the wording on this, but if this is the actual wording from the bill that was passed to get these going, or in some cases it's not even a bill that's passed for these particular things. The bill is passed and it gives X amount of money to a certain department, and then the department decides wherever they want to put it. So I don't see none of these things are necessary. None of these things are necessary. And studying on how to talk to ignorant people about climate change, and I'm sure the previous regime, the outgoing regime, I'm sure their definition of people that don't agree with them about climate change would be ignorant. That's what I'm thinking. $100,000 to see if a sunfish is more aggressive when given gin or tequila. $100,000 to see if Japanese quail are more sexually promiscuous if you give them cocaine. And why does that matter even if people are under cocaine? Why does that matter? $2 million for the construction of a kelp and shellfish nursery in Maine. Well, what you could do is, if that's going to be a business, if that's not a government department doing that, if that's going to be an actual business, you could make them pay for their own stuff instead. And like, I don't want to pay my taxes that I made for working in Ohio and Arkansas. I don't want them going to a $2 million kelp and shellfish nursery in Maine. So, no, thank you. $1.5 million to study the mating call of the country frogs to see if they're different than the city frogs. Of course they are. One's from the country, one's from the city. $200,000 plus. That's fun when they put the plus in there. We might give them more money later. To make monkeys transgender, to make any living being transgender, wouldn't that go against everything that they believe in? To make monkeys transgender, and when I'm talking about the liberals. To study HIV in trans women. All right. And $1 million to study if selfies make you happy. Tell you what, you can keep $900,000. You give me $100,000, and I will tell you that taking a selfie can sometimes make you happy, and it can sometimes make you sad, I'm sure. So how about that? Like, if when you take your selfie, you don't have as good of a background as your friend does in their selfie, then you might be sad. Okay? Give me my $100,000. Thank you. I'm expecting a gaming chair. And that was not them. So, but I might have to get up. I'll put on the be right back screen and go to the door and get that chair in, and then finish the stream if it comes by. But it'll be here by 8 p.m. tonight, and I'll be done here around 6:30 Eastern time. What else do we have here? Oh, I was interested in this today, so I Googled it about why they changed from sugar-free to zero sugar. I think it was more a changing from diet cola to zero sugar. And because of the perception of the word diet being negative and saying that it has zero sugar, like they had a thing called Coke Zero for a while, but it just said Coke Zero. It didn't say zero sugar. And so I kind of get that, primarily due to marketing strategy to appeal to a younger generation, always, who often view the term diet as outdated and negative. Perception of diet, clarity and transparency, zero sugar, explicitly communicates that a product contains no sugar. Yep. Leaving no room for confusion. Marketing appeal, zero sugar label is more appealing to a wider consumer base. especially looking for healthier options without feeling they are on a strict diet. Example, Coca-Cola rebranded its Coke Zero to Coke Zero Sugar to emphasize the lack of sugar in it, because just calling it Coke Zero doesn't exactly tell what it is, although I knew it immediately. I think they said it in the commercials, but it wasn't called that. Didn't have that on the label. I think might have said something about no sugar on the label as well, but that wasn't the name of the product. So that's why they did that after going with the diet. And then like the Coke products, I don't think they ever had sugar free on there at all. It just went from diet to Coke Zero and then finally to Coke Zero Sugar. And of course your other beverage brands did the same thing. Let's see, there's that. That's that one. That's that one. Oh, I don't have. Oh, I forgot to prepare something. I will do that on tomorrow's after show. It's George did a video about average like household income and spending and such like that. And so I grabbed a still from that. I was going to talk about that. I'll do that mañana. Robert G, what up? Secret Lab chair is a game changer. Back feels much better. That's fabulous. Yeah, my old one was broken, basically, so I threw it away in Arkansas before I moved back to Ohio, and now I'm in just like a, I don't know how you would describe this chair. And sometimes I sit in a kitchen table chair as well, but soon I'll be in a gaming chair. Looking very much forward to it. And I only did that after I got back my full $400 deposit from my previous apartment, and somehow another $28 on top of that. I don't know. I may have overpaid them something at some point, but they sent me extra money. So we did the financial plan conundrum yesterday. That was the one, I think the one that was a whole bunch of different stuff, and they were doing most of the stuff wrong that I could have done the whole show on. But let's see, we got Pat from the Midwest, advice paying for van repair. We recently had an engine misfire in our family van. I attempted as many repairs as I could myself, but I couldn't repair the issue. Took it to the dealership. Well, is it still misfiring? If it's one misfire, you probably don't have to go crazy about it. I don't know though. I don't know. If you have one misfire, that may be, oh, you better fix that right now. I don't know the severity of that. So I took it to the dealership and needs piston rings replaced. Dealership is the worst place you can get service on it. People love the dealership for some reason. You pay more for cars. You don't get as much for your car when selling it or trading it in. And you're going to pay more generally for service. Let's see, needs piston rings to be replaced. We intend to keep the vehicle as it's paid for, okay, and only has 60,000 miles. The total cost of the repair is $4,000. Anyway, we do not have the cash to pay for this as we are working through the baby steps, of course. The van is paid off, but there are other debts. Yep, of course there are. So you're on baby step 2. You should have $1,000 emergency fund. And so you have other debts. Okay, we are close to being out of this, and I'll like some input. Okay. On best options to pay for this repair. Well, the only way to do this, and what would Dave do? The only way to do this is to not spend that money on something else. You'll have to save up for it. You'll have to cash flow it. Now, you shouldn't have any extra money other than the $1,000, but if you do, if you're doing it wrong, like the previous person was doing yesterday, didn't pay off the house or didn't pay off a car loan even, while also having oh gosh, like over $100,000 I think in a high yield savings account, while he still had debt and while he still had a mortgage. So doing it wrong. So this person is doing it wrong. You would be better prepared for this, but you're not supposed to do that. You're only supposed to have $1,000. So that $1,000 would be your start of this. So you would have to not buy anything else. You would just pay minimums on the debt, and you can't buy anything else. That's not 100% necessary. While you save that up. Sorry, if you have things laying around that you're not using regularly, you sell those. You work more, you spend less, even less than you already were. And if you can find things to cut, guess what? You keep them cut until you have the full emergency fund. All your debt's gone first, and then you save up the full emergency fund. And then at that point, then you'd be in a much better shape for a engine misfire next time. So yeah, there's no magic. There's no magic. You have to make it happen by working more and spending less. That's it. And you try not to have as many emergencies. And some people call it an emergency when it's not an emergency. I understand if you only have one vehicle, you do need that to work. That is one of the 4 walls, transportation, part of baby step 0. So that is important to do. So you do have to have a vehicle. So I get it. And since it's paid off and not that many miles on it, repairing it probably the right thing to do. Because the only other thing you could compare is if you can get a car cheaper than $4,000, or even a different car for $4,000. That would be in as good shape as this after the repair. So that is an option. You can always call it. You can always call time of death on a vehicle you have in honor of getting a new one instead of repairing it, as long as there's no debt involved. Secure ad 295. How does real make a budget? What do you mean real? How does real make a budget? I don't get it. There's no dots there, so this is it. Let's see. Oh my goodness gracious me. I done Dave plan and am debt free. All right, now you need to learn English. Maybe not American. If not American or British, even, I'll give them a break. But otherwise, that's really sad. But the part I never understood is, how do you budget? See, that part sounds fine. How do you budget? Question mark dot. I don't get paid on same day every month. The first of the month. Okay, wait. I don't get paid on the same day every month, or the first of the month. Okay, I got it. If it's every 2 weeks though, you can still do the budget by that. Doesn't have to be on the same day. So let's use some numbers. Say I get paid $2,500 every 2 weeks. So month of November, I get paid on the 8th and the 22nd of December, right? And every 2 weeks, that's how I've been paid in my last, I think, 3 jobs, is bi-weekly. I get paid on the 6th and 20th in December, okay? What's the problem? And all my bills come out at different times of the month and different amounts. What I normal do is let what bills come out of my first check, spend money on food, and whatever left from my first check, when my second check hits bank, I move to savings. You should not have any savings while you are paying on debt. So if it's debt, you're doing that first. You don't have any savings other than the $1,000 emergency fund. But this is not a big problem. If you have all of your bills, you said they're all at different times. If when they come out is a problem, like you have your rent, and like the second highest expense comes out also around the first of the month when the rent typically is due. It could be different for this person when the rent's due, but you can ask, like utilities and stuff, you can ask them to move that to a different payment date, and normally they will do that for you. Even for like credit cards and stuff like that, you can move that. But I don't understand what the question is here really, unless it's just he can't make it work, or she can't make it work in his or her mind, because it's two different, like it's basically 2 point something, because some months you'll have 3 paychecks, but most months you'll have 2 paychecks in 1 month. And so the way I do mine for the bi-weekly pay is I have everything in before I have the income, the paycheck for that. Basically, I run my budget like a check register, and so I would have the carried over balance that's in the checking account, and then add in the new pay for it. So like I would already have it. It's a future, like a check register that's going into the future. So that's how it's a budget, because you're planning out the rest of the time. And I think I normally have it at least 3 or 4 months ahead of time. So I would already have these set up for the 2 in November and the 2 in December. And so like this one on the 8th of December, I would have my previous balance in the checking account. I would have what my pay is going to be on the 8th, add that in, and that would be the new balance on the 8th. And then I add up all of the expenses that are due between the 8th and 22nd, and then I subtract that amount from that, and then go from there. And then that leaves the balance that's left over until the next paycheck, and then I do that. So yeah, so I don't know exactly what this person doesn't understand. 98 people, though, tried to figure it out. So God bless them for trying to help. So, and like I said, hopefully that's a foreigner and not an American or an England person. Miriam Mermaid. All right. Husband's hours being cut. Storm mode or continue baby step 2. If you can still do expenses and continue baby step 2 by putting extra on the debt, you would do that. If you can't, guess what? Husband has to get in a part-time job then, or a new full-time job. Let's see. Hi, title says it all. Really, my husband's hours and therefore salary are being cut, say by around 8%-ish. Oh, so not much. So you can just do a side hustle, like you can just deliver pizzas or something on just the weekends or something like that. Waiting for the final figures. Is it significant enough change to push us into storm mode, piling up cash, or do we continue baby step 2? Since it's only 8%, I would consider baby step 2. I would consider just continuing. So if even after you subtract that 8%, like if you're putting 8% extra into your debt snowball, then you can cover that. And you might be, until he actually brings in the extra money, brings in that 8+%. And by doing that way, maybe he can make even more than that 8% at that second job. Or again, a new full-time job. So it just depends on how much the expenses are. We're only 14K bloody British pounds, bloody quid, baby step 2 flare, from finishing baby step 2. Yeah, again, it depends on your, so if he's still getting 92% of the money that he was getting before, and the 92% will cover your expenses, and at least to completely pay all of your expenses, then you're still not putting any money into extra money to pay off the debt faster. You're not doing any of that. Oh, that's my chair. One moment. Be right back. Be right there. All right. Sorry about that. Chair did arrive safely. So did I finish with this? So yeah, so it depends on your expenses. If you can't make expenses, needs to start looking for something immediately. If you just won't be able to, you can cover expenses, but you won't be able to put as much extra to debt, I would still start looking for something else as soon as you can, so you can do that final 14,000 bloody quid, so you can get that over with. And so, but it depends. We'd have to know that. Oh, for fun, let's see if anybody asked that or they added the extra information. I'm getting some closure on it. Why people deleted their comments? It makes you do that to see the comments? What in the world? Oh, there they are. Okay. That's not an error, obviously. Additional mechanics and diagnostics on that's for the other one. That's for the van repair. How did that happen? I click on the wrong one. Let's reload. Reddit having a problem. I hope we can go back to the main page. Reload. Yeah, I'm having a problem on this one. Okay. So we can't see that for some reason. Reddit having a problem. Quinoa. Should I pay off my low/no interest debts sooner? Yes. You pay off smallest to largest no matter what the interest rate is. And that's basically the deal on that. Everybody tries to do the math and scheme and scam and tries to be smarter with money, try to outwit the banks and stuff like that. But just pay it off. Don't move it around. Don't consolidate it. Don't play the shell game with the money and move the debt from one place to the other, because that makes you think you've done something and you haven't done crap. You haven't paid off anything. You actually, by moving it over, because they charge you a fee for that, you've actually increased your dumb debt. So do not do that. Just pay it off. Smallest amount to largest amount, no matter what the interest rate is. There's a reason for that. And the reason is because most people the reason you start with the smaller debts is so you can get those wins quickly and you can free up that entire payment, including the minimum and any extra you were putting to it. You can free all that up to go to the next debt, and so on and so on. And so this is the advice that's been proven for 30 years. Millions of documented success stories. Okay? No, your little thing about the interest rate thing, there's no stats on that. So, might work for you, might not. So, I wouldn't suggest it. Big Traffic 850, 860, yeah, 860. Open enrollment advice questions. Good afternoon. Yeah, there's more. Whoops. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, guys. Open enrollment is active, and I'm trying to decide whether to go with the high deductible health plan versus the traditional PPO plan. It would be a family plan to cover my wife, 5-month-old baby boy, and I. My wife and I are in our mid to late 20s and are healthy and do not have any surgeries or operations planned next year. The plan coverage is similar between the two plans. Plan specific details are below. Premium $285 versus $295. Yeah, that's not enough to worry about. So just pick the one you like there. Deductible out of pocket amount is $8,000, and this one is $7,000. 30% co-insurance after deductible is met. So you still got to pay 30% of the amount. Whereas even after the oh, that's still the out-of-pocket amount. Deductible is $3,000 and that's $7,000. Okay. I got you. Copay, office visit, urgent care, and so forth. Yeah, it really depends on what your situation is. If you are not like constantly at the chiropractor or constantly having, having to take the child to the doctor, and you and your wife aren't having any significant, if you're just going there for once a year for a checkup, then you don't need it for that. And so that would be up to you, but you would have to sign up for that one to do the HSA, and so that's the only thing. So you'd have the HSA, and some people use it as an investment, and you can do that, but depending on what step you are, you wouldn't be looking for extra investing. But of course, any money that is put in there, you can use that to pay medical expenses. Now, how people use it as an additional tax deferred or tax advantaged investment account is that they put the money in there, the max for the year, and then they just cash flow anything medical. And so, but let's see, I usually prefer to go the HDHP route, right? For the option to have an HSA and lower premiums since I'm young and healthy. But in this situation, the cost of premium is very little, and I'm not sure how having a child under a year affects things. They do have to go, I mean, they get sick and stuff, so it just depends. It could be a lot, could be little. My wife and I are in baby step 2 with approximately, that's what I wanted to know. Good to have information always. $78,000 that we are paying off, so we wouldn't be contributing much, if any, to the HSA. I would appreciate any input. Yeah, I mean, if you're not even going to use the HSA that much, you probably don't need it. So, the person could ask their doctor the next time they take them in, boy. So, or call and see if they'll talk to you on the phone about it, and just see, what is it? What am I looking at here for the year as far as wellness visits for the baby or anything like that? And that's even outside of colds and stuff like that. I don't know that they would even give you any like average a guess on averages or not, because average doesn't matter if your kid is going a lot more or going a lot less than the average child. So I don't know. I mean, this seems like pretty much like a wash for me. But you can like examine it and see. So, and you do have to consider the co-insurance after the deductibles met. But still, it's I mean $7,000 out of pocket max. That's a lower amount than the 8,000. So you may want to go with that PPO instead, and that way, if you have that much in medical, that you would have an extra 1,000. But you also get the 1,000 a year here, so yeah, it pretty much is a wash, as they say, which means they are equal or so. Reddit been having problems lately. Oh, I need to go back to the stream. There we are. Alex Transform 41. Emergency fund versus, does that mean versus savings location? I don't know the versus there. You mean the emergency fund savings location without the V in there? I don't know. I don't get it. Hey y'all. Hi guys. I've been trying to figure this out here. I'm about to be debt free this month. Great. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with the money I'm saving moving forward. I know the high yield savings is where you should park your emergency fund, but doesn't it make sense to park your regular savings in a different high yield savings account due to the higher returns? What? The emergency fund can't be in a high yield savings account unless you have immediate access to it, because emergencies don't wait 1 to 3 days to happen. So that has to be completely 100% liquid. That means you need to have debit card or check writing access to it. And so if that means you don't get your high yield savings, tough. Too bad. And you wouldn't have extra savings. Guess what? You're only out of debt this month, so you wouldn't be doing that yet. So let's just say, for argument's sake, say it's next month and you're out of debt. And so you're starting to do your full emergency fund. Again, that has to be completely liquid. And guess what? After you get your full emergency fund, guess what? You do not save any extra money. You are putting that extra money onto the other baby steps. And let's check out to make sure I'm right here. Let's see, step 1, 2, and 3. So those theoretically would be done. Step 2 would be done by next month, and then he'd save the full emergency fund. And again, that has to be 100% liquid. And then it doesn't say save any more money. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say have extra savings. Now, if you need to buy tires in 6 months and you know you need to, you can do an emergency fund for that. But you don't have just a general savings in case you want to spend some money. That's a no, because guess what? You'll spend that money instead of using it towards the baby steps. The idea is to limit your expenses. Now, you can budget a vacation and such like that once you're on step 4, sure. And you started do a sinking fund for that, which is kind of a savings account. Some bank accounts allow you to do buckets within the same account and allow you to name the bucket vacation, and you can allocate money out of that account to go to that bucket. And so there's a couple other things that people call the buckets. I can't remember. But your bank may do that. Otherwise, you can put it in an entirely different account, but you would not be having extra savings other than the full emergency fund and then any sinking funds to take care of known upcoming expenses, even fun things that you put in your budget. But you do not just have a slush fund to be there in case you all of a sudden see something that you want to buy. You want to be intentional. You don't want to stop being intentional with your money just because you're on step 4. You want to retain the intentionality and get through baby steps 4, 5, and 6 faster instead of relaxing so much that you're not getting through them nearly as fast. So that's the idea on that. But emergency fund, I see, versus savings location. I get it. So different savings. Gotcha. Now, your high yield savings account can be used for your sinking fund, sure, because you know exactly what day you're going on vacation. You know exactly what day you're going to buy tires. And, even if like you decide to buy tires, there can be a 1 to 3 day waiting period on that. If worse comes to worse, you can rent a car to travel during that time while you wait for that money to transfer. So yeah, a lot of people are confused about that. And a lot of people, they're trying to get every little single percentage that they can of interest, and I'm fine with that. But you cannot do that with your emergency fund. It has to be immediately available. What's on the mind today? Okay, let's see. I don't understand high yield savings account. It must be high yield savings account day, because there's right there, and this one. 2, you don't understand it. Well, it's an account. It's a savings account that gives you higher interest rate than your normal one at your bank. Next question. No, let's see. Let's read it. Let's find it. Let's find out if it's deeper. The thing is, there's many of them out there. That much is certain. And from what I've gathered, stuff, they have strict limits on withdrawals. Some of them do. Yes, you have to read the fine print on anything you sign or any account you open. You have to read every word of that. Because guess what? When you open it, when you sign for it, guess what? That means you're agreeing to all that crap. And so it doesn't matter if you weren't told or didn't know. Got a lot of calls when I worked at a bank. I got a lot of calls about that. I didn't know there was an overdraft fee. Well, you signed it, and you signed for separately for opting into overdraft fee. And so the overdraft protection doesn't protect you from getting fees. Overdraft protection protects the amount from not being approved. So the bill that you had to pay or the thing you tried to buy, that will still go through. But then you're going to do like some people did that I talked to personally, where they bought a $1 candy bar and that ended up costing them $36 because they had to pay a $35 overdraft fee. Dumb. So read all of the fine print on your stuff, people. Okay, I don't want to be told that I can only withdraw up to so much in a year. Well, read all the fine print on it and see if it says that. If it says that, then you got to keep looking. Sorry, didn't say it was going to be easy. What if I lose my job or have an emergency? Well, your emergency fund doesn't go in there, sir. Your emergency fund is in a liquid account that you have debit card or check writing access to, so you have immediate access to it. I'd have to rely on credit or withdraw from retirement, and that's a no. Both of those are a no. Both of those are a no in any situation. So no, you don't do that. You don't even think about that as saying, well, I'd have to rely on that. If so, you get that out of your head completely. That's wrong. You get rid of that in baby step 0, where you're not thinking about that anymore. You're not relying on credit for anything. You're not going to take out dumb debt ever again. That is part of baby steps 0. And just the general advice is you do not tap retirement for any reason except to avoid foreclosure or bankruptcy, and they might make you do it anyway at that point for those things. That's not a situation I like to be in. I understand, sir. That's why you don't even put that on the table. That should not be an option. Neither of those should be an option. You just don't do that, no matter what. Find another way. The whole concept confuses me and nothing about it is clear, yet I see them promoted often. Is there some way I can go about understanding this more? Because right now it sounds like a total scam. Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's a scam. And just because you don't like it, so I mean, every one of them may limit you on withdrawals per year. It's possible. Like, I mean, even savings account at the bank I worked at, you could have 5 withdrawals in a savings account a month for free. Every one you did after that was, oh, what was it? I think a $5 fee for that. And again, read the freaking fine print. Read things before you sign it so you know that. And so, that doesn't mean it's a scam. It's fine if you don't think it's okay, but guess what? You don't get to make the rules. You don't get a vote on what financial institutions have as policies. You don't get a vote on that. The only thing you can do is not bank with that one and bank with a different one, perhaps that has better policies. So you just have to do more research on it. And that's how we learn about things we don't understand, instead of just immediately going to the Reddit and posting about it. But it's fine. It's content for me. So I'm fine with it. Sunny Day 1775. What is the best solution to paying off my debt? Well, this is a great question, and it's on here a lot of the times. And it's a very simple answer. And the answer is that you do not spend that money on anything else. That way it's available to go to the debt. So you cut everything out of the budget that is not 100% necessary to live. You don't need subscriptions to Hulu and Netflix and Disney. You don't need those. Those are not necessary. You can do something else. You should be $18,000 in a Chase credit card by itself. You should be working extra instead of watching crap on TV anyway. Or on the old computer. Like I do it as well. Although my monitors are actually TVs. I have several debts at 28. Still a baby though. Still got 30 years in the market. 40 years even. And I need to solve them. Well, there you go. Good plan to do that. Good choice to do that. Here, $18,000 Chase credit card debt. Wait a minute. Here are my debts. 18,000 Chase credit card debt. Oh, I got you. Credit card debt. 8K credit card debt. So we got to say debt each time after, I guess. $26,000 car loan, sell the car. $50,000 student loan debt. I also make $54K per year and take home $1,400 every 2 weeks. Now, do you want to pay $50,000 to make $54K a year? I don't know that you do. And take home $1,400 every 2 weeks. I get taxed like hell. Well, you can move out of whatever state you're in, then move to a state that doesn't have state taxes then. What would be the best solution to tackling my debt? You don't buy anything that's not 100% necessary to live, and that means only food, shelter, transportation, clothing, but you get by with the clothing that you have is generally the rule on that. You're not buying clothes just because you want clothes. You have to need to replace something that, like if your tennis shoes have a hole in them, fine, go get more shoes. But you're not doing that, and that's only if you have one pair of tennis shoes to begin with, instead of the sneakerheads that have hundreds of them. The what would Dave do flair is you do not spend that money on anything else. There's no eating out, no restaurants at all. unless you're working there. And then maybe you can eat there for free. If not, you don't buy stuff from there. That's a no, 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 no. Even if you do work there. So no eating out. You eat at home with groceries. Cut out subscriptions. What else other crap can you cut out? Again, anything that's not 100% necessary. If you have cable, this is where you cut the cord, and then hopefully you see the error of your ways and you don't go back to it, because that's the most expensive way to get those channels. So yeah, you got, what is that, 18,008, that's 26,000, and 26 is 52, and 50 is $102,000, okay? So yeah, sell the car and you replace it with a $2,000 beater car. So there you go. If the car is underwater, then you need to either save up the cash to pay the difference, or you get a much smaller loan than 26K to make up that difference. So yeah, you sell the car and that gets rid of 25% of the debt. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that gets rid of 25% of the debt. Legitimate Heron 9883, Sweden. Yeah. Hello, I live in Sweden and I will soon have my emergency fund in place. Excellent. So the next step for me is to buy a house when I have my down payment in order. Correct. Right, emergency fund first, and then step 3B, which it's not on there. And that will be included in my missing baby steps video for baby step 0 and baby step 3B right there. So yes, and you can even not invest for up to 2 years to save a larger down payment faster. You can opt to do that if you would like. I wonder if someone in here are from Sweden, not me, or Scandinavian, and have some advice. For example, what budgeting app are you using? Because every dollar is not available here. Right. Again, the only one I know is YNAB. You need a budget, and I think that works everywhere. I'm not sure, though. As far as... And you can use a lot of them, different places. Every dollar, not so much, but you can use a bunch of them, but they may not connect to your Swedish bank, though, to get those transactions, to import them. And you have to manually put those in. Okay, cancel. 5696. Should I sell my house and rent for a little? Sometimes. We got Longy here. What up, Sid? Had a big day today, but she made it, so that's good. That's always better than the alternative, which is not making it. So that's fabulous, Sid. Good to see you. Brief, almost said brief background. I did not listen to myself say, what would I say, portfolio yesterday instead of portfolio. Did not listen to that yet. Brief background. We own an apartment and bought a house about a year ago. Problem is, I live so far away from my family. As we had just bought a house, didn't have a lot of money for a wedding, so we took out a loan to pay for it. Beep, beep, doo doo. That wasn't turned up that loud. You might not have heard that. So that's a no, obviously, on the advice to not do that, but you already did it, so let's fix it. And now we are pregnant, okay? That generally doesn't happen at the same time for men and women, but all right. We have about $200,000 to $250,000 in equity on this home. If we were to sell, but we can't afford to buy near my family just yet, especially if I'm willing to take half pay for a year to raise my child. Yeah, and see, this is what you think about before you buy a house in an area. You have to think about, oh, I might have a child and I might want to be near my family. You think about that before you buy a house in a different area, right? People just don't think. We also have an old car the with the baby. We need a new one. That is false. Both of my children were fine. Didn't need a minivan or SUV or anything like that. Both of my children at the same time were fine in a compact car. So stop with your justification station. Now, if the car has other problems, that's a different thing. But you don't automatically just have to buy a new vehicle because you are having a baby. That is bullcrap. Justification station, like I'm saying. Justification station, always full. Are thinking of selling, paying the debt off, and buying a new car. You do not buy a new car. The stipulation from Mr. Ramsey is not that, oh, I just had a baby, or even now I have 3 children. That's not part of it. That's got nothing. Your kids have nothing to do with it. In order to buy a brand new car, you have to have $1 million net worth, and you don't. I'm calling it. I'm going to go ahead and say that you don't. So that's a no on that. So even if you do get a different car than this one, it would not be a new car if you are following the Ramsey advice. This would leave us with about 150 to 200K remaining that we would put in a saving investment account while we look at building once I go back to work. All right. Well, you don't have to build. You're going to pay more for building. Is this a dumb strategy? Not necessarily. If we don't buying a new car is a dumb strategy. That part is, but like the rest of it seems fine, I think. If we don't sell or do something, I will need to return to work a lot earlier. You can move close to your family. That's fine. But you don't put in that, well, if I move, you don't like add all your other little stipulations to it. Like you don't include that. And well, if I decide to move my family, I have to do X, Y, and Z too. That's a no. The moving near the family is a loan by itself, and then you don't have to do this other stuff that's not with the Ramsey advice, especially like buy a new car. That's a no. So that part is dumb. But yeah, you can sell the house. You wouldn't want to keep the house anyway because you're moving away from it. Right? I owned an apartment and bought a house a year ago. What do you need an apartment and that for? So sell both of them. Why wouldn't you sell both? You don't want to have real estate in an area you're not in unless you're well off enough where you can pay a management company to run it. And then that's cutting your profit way down so that one little problem can mean you don't have any profit for the whole year on real estate. And you wouldn't have 2 houses anyway while you still have debt. So let's see, does they have debt? Oh yeah, took out a loan to pay for it. So yeah, you're on baby step 2. So you can move if you want to. That's fine. You do have to save up some money to move. So some of that money would be for moving, I'm guessing. But yeah, you can put it in a saving or investment account. If you throw it in investments, you have to have a 5-year window. So the market's not down the second you want to use it. Is this dumb strategy? I said that already. I would remain isolated from family, and we can't afford to get a car loan. We would be stretched too thin. You don't get a car loan at all, so you're doing it wrong. You're in the wrong place. I don't know. Have you heard of Mr. Ramsey? Ma'am. Have you heard of Mr. Ramsey? He's the no debt guy, in case you didn't hear of him. Should also know I'm only 24, just a baby. Husband 26. We earn about 180K combined. Right, but you're not going to. You're going to stay home for half a year. So that really doesn't matter. What would matter would be it, but The problem is the loan that you already have and the fact that you're thinking about taking out another dumb loan, and that's dumb as crap. So the baby steps are right here. And again, the first one is save that $1,000 for that starter emergency fund. And the second step is to pay off all debt except the house using that snowball. And you know what would be better than that? To not have taken out debt at all. And part of baby step 0 is where you decide I'm going to pay off my dumb debt and I'm not going to take out any more ever. So you're doing it wrong. Let's see. Oh, look, it loaded. You do not need a new car. That's just your hormones talking. That's right. Anything for the baby. Yeah, also, newborns do not need their own room either. Multiple children do not need their own room either. So let's see. Yeah, the moving back, I'm fine with. The car and not paying off that loan, and also, it was a no when you were paying cash for the car because you don't get a new car unless you're a millionaire. So that's a no. Budget, yeah, part of step 0. So not really thinking of it in the Ramsey way. The person is. Let's see. We in Australia don't use the term condo, but I think that's what an apartment is. I don't want to sell because it pays for itself at the moment. Yeah, but if you're not going to be living near it, then you want to sell it. The issue is being far from family as well. Right, you can move next to your family, but then you sell that dumb condo that's there. So it doesn't matter if it's rented out. You can still sell it while it's rented out. That is fine. It's your property. You're allowed to sell it. And so the whole thing about you're saying because it pays for itself at the moment. So what does that mean? Does that mean just if you lose the tenants, which could happen? Does that just mean if you have any problems with it that you have to pay to fix? What does that mean? So that's not good enough for me, especially when you live X amount of time away from that area. So yeah, you would sell the house and the condo again. All right. Time is it? Oh my goodness, ran over. All right, need to do a little bit extra because I left to get my chair. So hopefully be sitting in that tomorrow. Got to put it together. YouTube.com/CoachSteveMoney is me, and I'm a Ramsey Solution certified financial coach. And you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me if you got money problems or you just want to make sure you are on the right track. And you can do that at Calendly.com is the name of that website. Calendly.com/CoachSteveMoney. That's in the ticker below, also in the video description. You can email me at coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations can go to paypal.me, CoachSteveMoney /CoachSteveMoney, excuse me. Alternatively, the CashApp at $CoachSteveMoney or Walmart gift card too. Again, the email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Also, super chats. Also, super thanks on pre-recorded videos, which I will have some of those financial ones coming up about the baby steps. Upcoming streams, this show, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show, Monday through Friday, weekdays. Following each YouTube Ramsey show, and that will start approximately 5:25 p.m. My stream will. And that's, again, right after the Ramsey Show leaves the YouTube and goes for its last 40 minutes or so to the Ramsey Network app that the one person was asking about from Sweden. All right, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks so much if you have done those things already. And as always, make smart, not dumb ones, make smart financial decisions every day.